That's what all of these consumer realms that are stealing from us are taking away. Is the point is, if you want to be investing in something and you're willing to pay the price of whatever unpleasantness or time or whatever it is that you're spending, and you've got all of these competing things that can give you a hit of dopamine right now, it's very hard to develop that skill.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this sort of entitled world that we live in, where we're so used to things being instantaneous and immediate gratification, that becomes a kind of a core tenet of how we interface with the world. We only are interested in things that give us things right away.
Heather and I used to teach an exercise, something we invented called Learn a Skill, where we would have students define any skill that they wish to learn. It had only one requirement. The requirement was it had to be objective, whether you had succeeded or failed. It couldn't be subjective, right?
Okay.
And the idea was not to get you to learn the skill. That was a collateral benefit. The idea was to get you to pay attention to how you develop a skill, so that you would learn how your own mind learns, and you could apply that to things that you wanted to learn later in life. But what we often found was that these students, these would have been millennials, were very unrealistic about how much effort it would be required for them to accomplish one of these things. And they would just get schooled by how much harder it was to build the thing they wanted to build, or to program the computer to do the thing that they wanted to program it to do, or to play the song that they were hoping to play. Something had trained them that life was easier than it was. And that was kind of a tragic lesson.
Right.
And
it's the trust fund kid. It's the same sort of a thing.
Yeah, but these weren't trust fund
But I
kids.
mean, I don't even mean it's the what a trust fund kid has. They want things handed to them all the time, and we've kind of like set up a whole society where kids think that things should just be theirs.
Totally.
Yeah, and also we've set up a society where people become exceptional with no merit. Right, like social media influencers and TikTok influencers are people that they just captivate attention, whether it's by clickbaity headlines or whatever they're doing, or just like being hot and dancing around in front of the screen. They're doing that, and that has become one of the main things that children aspire to. When they ask kids what they want to do, one of the big things that kids want now is to be famous. It's much more prevalent than it ever was in history. Because before it was really hard to be famous. If you wanted to be famous, you had to be a real psycho. Like, you had to be like completely ignored by everyone around you, to the point where, like, you know what, God damn it, I am special, and I'm going to show the world. I'm going to be on that stage singing that song, or whatever it was, being in that movie on that big screen. And you had to really want it. You had to be really sick to get to the top. And a lot of them really were. And that's how you made it. And so it was a very rare thing that most people did not aspire to, because they didn't think it was a realistic goal. But now people see people that are nothing. There's nothing special about them, and they're billionaires. Like if you watch the Kardashians, they're cute. Okay, they have nice clothes, but the whole show is based on very boring people who are living these extremely privileged lives for no reason that anybody can explain that makes any sense. They've generated hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars through no way that anybody could map out and say, this is how you do it.
Yeah, there's no lesson to it.
No lesson to it
at all.
But yet they're the people that people want to aspire to.
Yes, I think that's I think we get a warped perspective, because which names do you know? Well, you know the people who've succeeded in this realm, and you don't know all of the people who've invested heavily in it and not succeeded.
Right.
But on the other hand, the internet as it stands is a training program for this. So in part, the reason that people become focused on the things that they become good at is because they get some early reward that causes them to return and try to do more, right? I'm convinced this is true. If you went back to the things that each of us are good at, you would find some early experience that caused us to stick to it enough that we ended up good. But everybody is in these social media environments competing for likes. I mean, even just inadvertently, you don't want to put up a post and have nobody react to it.
Right.
You hope they react, and you hope they react positively. So the internet is training people to be influencers. Most of them are not going to make it, but it's like the sports stars who become the irresistible icons in certain communities, because obviously that's that's a whole different world of possibilities.
Right.
So, it brings everybody in. Well, in this case, you've got everybody in a de facto training program to be an influencer, and almost none of them are going to get there.
Yeah, but they do have their Call of Duty, so they can just play that and just jerk off all day.
And get
Man, speaking of the Kardashians, I wonder what Alan Watts would think of the Kardashians. And I did not plan to do this, but I'm going to just see, because ChatGPT, I know some people feel like this is blasphemous, but you can just go, Alan, write a paragraph, actually two paragraphs in the voice of Alan Watts talking about what he thinks of the Kardashian. How do you even spell that? Kardashian. Okay. Kardashian family and what they do and did for fame. Let me just see if it'll just write that. Let me switch you over to the screen. I know. Some people don't like it. I know. Well, let's just see what this thing says. If Alan Watts were to comment on the Kardashian family, he may approach the contact. The Kardashians are a phenomenon, is a fantastic spectacle of modern Americana. Clear reflection of deep human yearning, not just for attention, but for a sense of being a part of the grand social narrative. The Kardashians, through their adept manipulation of media, have become icons of the existential currency of fame. They are modern day court jesters holding up a mirror to the absurdities of our celebrity driven culture. This is actually pretty solid. Celebrity driven culture where the content of one's character is often overshadowed by the image one projects. It's an art form, really, where the medium is not a canvas or clay, but personal life broadcast and consumed like a commodity. In this dance for recognition, the Kardashians have become the minstrels at turning the mundane into spectacle and the personal into universal. Their talent lies not in just what they do, but in how they've managed to make millions watch and even emulate their every move. This in itself is a form of wizardry, turning the everyday into the extraordinary. Yet one wonders what this pursuit of fame for fame's sake tells us about the void we as a society are trying to fill. Are we seeking attention, or are we merely pacifying our boredom with the flickering images of others' curated lives, making visibility for worth? Curated lives, mistaking visibility for worth. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That is, I think that's what Alan Watts would say. I think he would be amazed. I don't think he would just be disgusted. I think a lot of people are like, oh, he would hate them and he'd do that. I don't know. I think he'd be very intrigued by the whole thing. And he'd be like, oh, wow, quite round, these ladies, round parts and whatnot. I think he'd be very intrigued. And I think he'd be even more intrigued by the fact that, women started emulating not just what they do, but their body shapes, their face shapes, their makeup technique. I think he'd be intrigued by all of that just women just changed the way they look because of these women. I think he'd be astounded. And then if you told him how Kim actually got her start and the whole tape thing and everything, and I think he'd be like, wow. He'd be like, wow, why did you resurrect me for this? I was swimming in source, being a part of God, and you brought me back to talk about this. But it's some interesting things that came up here. You know, it seems like young people, they're very smart, but they've been fooled. Like, a lot of them want to be influencers, but they've been fooled. So smart in the fact that life is a hoax, that this whole thing is a hoax. You know, the life as they have structured it for us by design is a hoax, but then fooled by social media. And somehow it's not just that they're lazy, that fame is easier. They know inherently life is supposed to be easier. That's what it sounds like. That's what it seems like to me. They know life should be easier. But when they look around, how often do they see, you don't hear about the life of a farmer. You don't hear about the life of someone living on public land, building a log cabin. You don't hear about those simple forms of life, right? You only see the simple form of life, which is with the influencers and what they do. And that gets put on a broad stage. It's like manhood. You don't hear about the guy who just has 5 kids. Like, I got it. My buddy Dre, I think he has 6 kids now. And he works for Nike. I think he does some scrap metal on the side. He loves it because he stays in shape. He's like in his 40s, but he's jacked. He looks good. You know, works for Nike. They really appreciate him, you know. And he has a really, like, you always see him with his kids. He's in my Christian men's group. And anytime you see him holding a kid when he's on camera. Or he's with, you know, he has a teenager to all the way to baby. Like, he has everything. You know, and people don't put that life on the big screen. They put the Andrew Tate on the big screen. They put the Jordan Peterson being very intellectual on the big screen. They put the Harry Styles with, and I'm sorry to pick on Harry Styles, it's just that you wore a dress and you painted your cheeks rosy like a little doll, so I can't help but to always bring you up, you know, or Sam Smith, whatever, you know, and they put that on the big screen. So that's what men move towards. Men pick that, if you notice. You know, those are their Kardashians. Andrew Tate, Harry Styles, Jordan Peterson. Not to insult Peterson. He's obviously not like a Kardashian, but they just pick the things that they see. If we showed them different aspects of life, like I met a 6th generation rancher just the other day at the farmer's market. And it's this lady. And I was like, oh, I have to talk to her about what her life looks like. You know, she's running a business. She's at the farmer's market selling meat and everything. But at the same time, I know she has a more simple life, you know. She gave us free meat. She's like, here you go. Just try it. Make a pre-order. I was like, wow. She's like, I'm investing in my future. Delayed gratification. Talk about that. She gave us free product and said, make a pre-order. She knew that we would like it that much that we'd make a pre-order. We already liked everything we saw, but she didn't have anything left. She's like, I have this left. You can have it. You know, it's just, we don't put alternative lifestyles. And I don't mean alternative like the alphabet community. We don't put alternative lifestyles like the guy who bought a ranch and just minused himself from everything. You know, the guy who just hunts for his meat and that's it. The family, the Amish family, the Mennonite types, where they do work hard, but life is so much simpler and they have more pleasures, you know? They get pleasures from simpler things. There's a lot more simple things in the world than there are complex things. Here, let's play this Alan Watts clip here. Why isn't it playing, though?
People who dropped out of college because they saw it as stupid. And they're that sort of people. We would call them perhaps beatniks. But you see, the city doesn't like it because they aren't owning the right sort of cars, and therefore the local car salesman isn't doing business through them. They don't have lawns, and so nobody can sell them lawnmowers. They hardly use dishwashers, appliances of that kind. They don't need them. And also they wear blue jeans and things like that, and so the local dress shops feel a bit put out having these people around. And they live very simply. Well, you mustn't do that. You've got to live in a complicated way. You've got to have the kind of car, you know, that identifies you as a person of substance and status and all that. So there's a great problem here in our society. Now, why is there this problem? There's always a very inconsiderable minority of these non-joiners or people who check out of the game. But you will find that insecure societies are the most intolerant of those who are non-joiners. They are so unsure of the validity of their game rules that they say everyone must play. Now that's a double bind. You can't say to a person, you must play, because what you're saying is you are required to do something which will be acceptable only if you do it voluntarily. You see? So everyone must play is the rule in the United States. And it's the rule in almost all Republican governments. I mean Republican in the sense of democratic. Because they're very uneasy. Because everybody is responsible. You mean you may try not to be and avoid it and say, oh, let the senators take care of it or the president. But theoretically, everyone's responsible. Now that's terrifying. See, it's all right when you know what's right. There is an aristocracy, there is the clergy, and they know what should be done, and they're used to ruling, you see. But now it's in your hands. You say, well, what are we going to do? Well, I think this way, and you think that way, and he thinks the other way. And so we're all unsettled. And therefore, we become more and more conformist. Individualism, rugged individualism, always leads to conformism, because people get scared. And so they herd together, and compounded with industrial society, mass production, etc. They all wear the same clothes, and they're sensible clothes that don't show the dirt too much. And we get duller and drabber, and with the exception of the Californian Revolution. So the reason for this is, in a way, that democracy as we have tried it started out on the wrong foot. You see, in the scriptures, the Christian scriptures, it says everybody is equal in the sight of God. Now that's a mystical utterance. That means that from the standpoint of God, all people are divine and are playing their true function. And that is something that is true on a certain plane of consciousness. But come down a step and try to apply the mystical insight in the practical affairs of everyday life, and what do you get? You get a parody of mysticism. You get the idea not that everybody is equal in the sight of God, but that all people are equally inferior. And that's why all bureaucracies are rude, why the police are rude, and why you're made to wait in lines and are obstreperous income tax individuals and all that sort of person. Because everybody's a crook. Everybody's equally inferior. See, that becomes the parody of democracy.
So I let that clip run a little long just because it's Alan Watts. I don't know how a video like this only has 258 views. I mean, I know it's not an actual video, it's just audio, but still, it's amazing. But exactly what he said right at the beginning, you know, you must live in a complicated way, right? That's why you move towards the Kardashians. They're boring, and when you really get into it, it's not a very simple life, because everything's draped in massive material, and to acquire the material is more meticulous than it seems, you know? And then, like he also said about the conformity, people do it because they're scared. There's probably a lot of women that emulate the Kardashians because they're scared. There's probably a lot of men that go for women like that because they're scared, because you don't want to step outside the box and bring home some kind of lady who has a mind or something, or who isn't boring or something, or who doesn't do the I don't know, they do the makeup thing, what is it called, contouring, where they're making their nose look a certain way through makeup, and they put it on their chest and their cheeks and all this stuff. You don't want to come home with a lady who doesn't know how to do contouring. Oh, you'd be stepping out of the line too much. But again, I think all of this is happening because I think young people know, everybody knows life should be easier. When you're going through everything and you're doing the job that you don't really want to do, and you're going through it in such a way where it's just, I know for me, when I was working jobs like that, it just felt so dead end. And I used to always think, I'm like, wow, I have to do this for another 40 years. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I can't do this for 40 years. We all know it should be a little simpler, but for some reason, we're just not shown what that simple looks like. You have to really go and find it. And if you focus on the screens and you focus on the Kardashians and you focus on the influencers, then you're just like, okay, well, then I guess that's the simpler way, because they're rich, they're happy, they're not doing much. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. This perpetual, it's like a perpetual income where your life looks like it's in retirement. It's very weird when you watch them, you know? And then the exceptionalists having no merit, you know, and then when they talk about the training ground in the Joe Rogan clip, it's like they're training people for easy, they're training them for boring, they're training them for no merit. The internet is. And all of that together, again, it goes back to you not being as effective as you could be. Effective people will eventually stand up if there's any tyranny afoot, or even if they just don't like something in the slightest. They might just assemble and get together and be like, we're not putting up with this. But if you're just easy and boring and you don't know about delayed gratification and you want everything instantaneously, well, that's primed. You've primed yourself for the government to step in and say, we'll give you money. We'll give you money. We'll make sure everything's good. We'll give you entertainment. You just got to sit there. Just relax. Just be a part of the economy. Just be the cog in the whole thing, please. You know? So it's like the internet's doing it, but it's also, there's like a they at work. And also there's the interesting aspect of the algorithm also training you. So it's like, it's not even just the they, but it's also this algorithm that trains you. And you train it. So you show it, hey, I kind of like these. And then it shows you more of that. And then it shows you how to do that. And then it shows you how to become that. And you feel like you're in complete control because you know you're training the algorithm. But in a strange way, the algorithm's actually training you more so. Showing you things more so. So it's just very weird. I'm going to end it off with this one here.
The existence, the physical universe, is basically playful. There is no necessity for it whatsoever. It isn't going anywhere. That is to say, it doesn't have some destination that it ought to arrive at. But it is best understood by analogy with music. Because music, as an art form, is essentially playful. We say you play the piano. You don't work the piano. Why? Music differs from, say, travel. When you travel, you are trying to get somewhere. And of course, we, because being a very compulsive and purposive culture, are busy getting everywhere faster and faster and faster till we eliminate the distance between places. So you eliminate the distance and you eliminate the journey. Because the fun of the journey is to travel, not to obliterate traveling. In music, though, one doesn't make the end of a composition. If that were so, the best conductors would be those who played fastest. And there would be composers who wrote only finales. People go to concert just to hear one crashing chord, because that's the end. Same way dancing. You don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive. The whole point of the dancing is the dance. Now, but we don't see that as something brought by our education into our everyday conduct. We've got a system of schooling which gives a completely different impression. It's all graded. And what we do is we put the child into the corridor with a kind of, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And yeah, you go to kindergarten, you know. And that's a great thing because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then come on, first grade leads to second grade, and so on, and then you get out of grade school, you go to high school, and it's revving up, the thing is coming. Then you're going to go to college, and by Jove, then you get into graduate school, and when you're through with graduate school, you go out to join the world. And then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance. And they've got that quota to make. And you're going to make that. And all the time, this thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. And there's a slight letdown because you feel there's a hoax. And there was a hoax.
And there was a hoax. That's 100% correct. There was a hoax. And I think that the young people of today, the Gen Z, I think they've seen their parents and they've watched their grandparents have that letdown happen in their lives. And they realize that there is a hoax. The problem is where they get fooled is they think the easier way or the better way or the way to liberation is through the influencer path, through the useless path. And if they could just see a few generations back to where their great-great-great-grandparents were and the pleasures that they got from simple things, I think that they would follow that path. But the problem is, your algorithm doesn't show you that, and they're immersed in their algorithms. So they don't fall for the hoax, but they end up falling for a new hoax.
There's DIY, and there's doing it yourself. It's the difference between being creative and being a creator. Between a homemade recipe and a household name. Between a daydream and a dream job. It's your business, your hard work. You do it yourself. Create your website on Wix.
I want to start off with the first story about Canada falls to Trump and cancels bombshell electricity tariff. And this is a big one because I don't know if you guys saw the market yesterday. Tom, I'm going to come to you with this one here at first.
Okay.
Canada reversed its 25% electricity tariff on Michigan, New York, and Minnesota after President Trump threatened severe financial repercussions, with Ontario Premier Doug Ford announcing in response Ontario agreed to suspend its 25% surcharge on exports of electricity to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. Rob, if you got the clip, if you want to play, and then I'll tell you more about it here. Go for it, Rob.
Well, just a little while ago, I had an opportunity to speak to Secretary Lutnick. And Secretary Lutnick has sent out an olive branch to us to come down and immediately meet with him, meet with the whole trade administration, and discuss the future. Rather than waiting till April the 2nd, threats going back and forth, tit for tat, I've agreed to suspend temporarily, and we always have that tool in our toolkit, until we sit down over the next day or two. I'll be heading down to Washington along with Dominic LeBlanc. And
Rob, how long is this
good
clip,
discussion.
He goes on for about 3 minutes.
Oh, we're not going to play that for, especially the monotone voice that he has. But so, anyways, long story short, what happens is they caved, and I'll read this next part to you. Trump, who declared a national emergency on electricity and double tariffs on Canada, steel, and aluminum to 50% in response to Ford's initial tariffs, suggested Canada join the U.S. 51st state. Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We would have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem, while also threatening to permanently shut down Canada's auto sector with higher car tariffs on April 2nd unless Canada drops its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. dairy and agricultural products. Tom.
So this guy, Doug Ford, to let you all know who he is, he's the premier of Ontario. So he's the governor of Ontario, and he carries as much weight as Gavin Newsom does as a governor of California, or DeSantis does, the governor of Florida, being very large U.S. states. So that's who this guy is. And he says, right along the border, we've been selling electricity to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. Because if you know, Buffalo is right there on the Canadian border. There's U.S. cities that are there. And he said, hey, we're going to tariff, the electricity that we're selling to these people. Never mind that these have been very level electrical treaties for a long time. And so Trump turns his head and said, okay, make it 50% on steel and aluminum. Well, Ottawa gets a hold of Doug Ford and says, hey, dude, you're like the governor of Ontario. Can you let us do this from the capital of Canada? Should you be speaking up like this? And Doug Ford let him know. He says, I've been summoned to Washington. That's what he was just saying. Yeah, Secretary Lutnick asked me to, let's not wait till April. Why don't you come to Washington? No, it goes like this. Listen, Governor, why don't you get your ass down to Washington and we can talk about this right now? Meanwhile, my boss, Trump, just raised the tariffs on this. And guess what? He runs to the microphone, not in Parliament, but in a freaking empty room, speaking in a monotone like a kid that just got caught coming home late on a date by his mom. Hey, it's midnight. You're supposed to be home by 10 o'clock. And he's just sitting there stunned. And guess what happens? This is a microcosm of when power and policy meets small retaliatory threat. And he broke the guy. And there have been these memes all over the place. And there's now, I broke some guy from Ontario. Whack, right over his knee. And that's what happened. And so this is how I have been saying tariffs often are going to be tactics, not long-term taxes. Will they upset the markets a little bit? Will they do a little bit? Sure. But look how they're breaking and backing off.
How did the market react yesterday?
Yesterday, the market was green. It wasn't up 5%, but guess what? Tesla was up 7%. NVIDIA was up 6.5%. And the major indexes, I think 3 of the 4 indexes, because you got the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P 500, they were up like 0.5%, demonstrating a settling, which shows you even the most minor news that says, hey, some of these tariffs are calming down, the market immediately calms down. There's a long way to go, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and there's still uncertainty, but the markets immediately calmed yesterday.
Rob, where's the article that says how much money was lost in the stock market just the last few days? I saw a number that said $1.5 trillion. I don't know what the number was. If you can see if you can look it up. It's one of these pages that we had.
And see if it's an 11th story or a 12th story.
That's it's going to be on the 11th story. But there's a point here on what you're saying, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is, the fears of recession. A lot of people connected me yesterday like, oh my God, Pat, from your tone, you kind of worried that it may be a recession, all this other stuff. Guys, let me just simplify it for you guys, for those who fear. Here's where and when we made our money, okay, when it came down to crisis. 2006, 2007, 2008 was the second biggest time where I was able to really see growth in my business. Was when the mortgage crash happened in 08. Everybody was afraid. We doubled down. We played offense. After 9/11 happened, everybody was scared. That's when I became a stockbroker. Everybody was leaving the industry. That's when I went into the industry. COVID happened. Everybody was scared. Oh my God, what about this and what about that? And what are we going to do? We played offense. It was the biggest year and biggest month of our careers was a month after when COVID first started happening, March 14th. Was it April or May? That was the biggest record-breaking month that we did almost $2.5–3 million of EBITDA that month. I don't know what the month was. It must have been April or May, if you remember that, 2020. Everybody was scared. Everybody's like, oh my God, do I shut down my office? Do I close down my office? Do I close down this? Do I do this? Do I not reinvest into the business? What about if I go this side? Here's the reality of it. When it comes down to the current talks about a recession, I want to kind of bring two things to people. One, we had technically, by definition, a recession under Biden by having 2 consecutive back-to-back quarters where the GDP didn't grow. Number 2, there's 3 types of people right now in the marketplace. There's those who hate Trump. There's those who don't follow politics. They're neutral. And then there's those that voted for Trump. Let's go through all 3 of them. Those who hate Trump, They are dying for the market to, drop and crash. They're celebrating. They want to see it happen. They want to see this guy fail miserably. They want to see it fail. A guy on CNN, Rob, if you can pull up this clip and find it, is showing the fact that, under Biden, the inflation was going up and up and up, and everybody was worried. And we were not expecting for these numbers to show up, but it looks like inflation has dropped for the first time under Trump. That's the number right there. Can you pull that up, Rob? Watch this clip, guys. CNN is having a hard time reporting good news on inflation. Watch this clip. Go for it.
Finally, we have some good news on the economy and really the number one issue for many Americans, the cost of living. So we just learned that consumer prices in February increased by 2.8% year over year, 0.2% month over month. Both of these figures were a step in the right direction, and both were better than expected. So this is definitely very encouraging to see, because it's going to, I think, relieve some fears that inflation was perhaps re-accelerating, because this actually breaks a streak of 4 straight months where I think you could see it on the chart all the way to the right, where the inflation rate was going in the wrong direction, right? It was going higher and higher. Finally, we're seeing it dip.
Okay, so you see a number like that. It's like, oh, my God, we don't want to report that. Market doesn't want to see that. So the people that don't like Trump, don't be surprised when they are, rooting for the failure for him to drop. The people that are in the middle, you're like, look, I don't really care. I'm just a business guy. I'm just trying to make a little bit more money. I don't want to lose any money in the market. What do I do with this? Be patient and understand the fact that there's going to be certain seasons you're going through this, but don't make decisions of long-term decisions based on a 1 month, whatever's happening. And those of you guys that are under Trump, we talked about this yesterday. The analogy I used is when back in the days, Amazon on quarterly calls, investors used to say, hey, how come you're not paying dividends? Others are paying dividends. Why are you not paying dividends? And then Jeff Bezos is like, look, if you're wanting a return on a stock for 1 month, 2 months, or a year, we're not the stock for you. Sell off. If you want to be with us long term, we're going to build a very good business. Long term, people benefited. The same as you hire a new head coach, they're bringing new ideas. These guys are coming up with revolutionary ideas we've never seen before. The market is going to take a bit of a hit. We just have to be a little bit patient about it while we're going through it. Adam, your thoughts on this?
So the gentleman, I forget his name,
Lutnick?
Ford? The guy from Canada.
Doug Ford, Premier.
Doug Ford.
There he is, Premier Ontario.
He said a word, tit for tat, right? So what's happening, these, what are they called, reciprocal tariffs? And it seems to be a negotiation tactic from Trump. So it's sort of an economic game of chicken. Trump is doing what I would call economic nationalism, economic warfare, America first. He also calls it common sense versus global economics, which we've been very much railing against the globalist agenda. But here's the point. Trump is very adamant that he wants to get out of these unfair trade deals. He feels that America has been taken advantage of for 40 years.
Gentlemen and female gentlemen, oh, what a glorious day. What a glorious day. Johnny Somali jailed. It's over. He is cooked. Good times to be alive. Good time to be me specifically, who likes chaos a lot. So for those of you that need the quick TLDR before we dive into what's actually going on right now, Johnny Somali pled guilty in court. He has another court case because he has more crimes levied against him. He is going to probably plead guilty to those. He made a video responding to the allegations after pleading guilty, and he admitted to more crimes. A bunch of YouTubers went to Korea to cook him in person, and apparently, holy shit, they annihilated that bozo. So today we are here to dance on his grave, enjoy his downfall, because I love a good downfall. Nuisance streamer goes to Korea, fucks shit up in Korea, and gets absolutely obliterated. So Atozy just made a video, just dropped this video about the disrespectful IRL streamer destroying his life in front of him, because he actually went to Korea to watch, film, and make fun of him in court. So lock in, baby! We're going crazy today!
If you come right here, you see that 7-Eleven right there is where pretty much the most hated live streamer in the world made one of the worst decisions of his life by decided to getting belligerently drunk.
Right, so he went, this is Johnny Somali, he goes into that 7-Eleven, look at this.
Throwing noodles around. And
he's going to jail for this. Oh, what a glorious day. Oh my God. I am so happy. I absolutely love this timeline. Definitely subscribe for more timelines. Exactly like this. Dude, we are living in the best timeline. Trump deporting people that we don't want in America out of America. Korea keeping people that we don't want to come back to America stuck out of America. Truly the greatest timeline. Definitely subscribe for more chaos.
then cussing out an elderly store employee. This basically kickstarted his downfall here in Korea because it was after that.
I love downfalls. They make me so happy.
That incident that things started to crumble together for him.
And this caused a ripple effect that put enough negative attention on his behavior that he got the attention of the Korean government. And now with all the official charges placed on him, he's now facing over a decade in Korean prison. So today, we're gonna head over to his trial. So over the past few years, this
Holy shit, I cannot believe a bunch of random guys, like my homies too, you don't understand. These are my boys. They went to Korea to shit on this man in person. I respect the dedication, holy f. Oh God, I would have gone too if I wasn't busy cooking Hassan Piker.
Creamer has built a small
That's a joke, I wouldn't have gone anyway. I was having too much fun cooking Hassan Piker.
career off of going to countries that have a reputation of being extremely polite, taking advantage of this and harassing people for his own content. And not too long after he started doing this, he ended up in jail in Japan for a little bit over 3 months while he was awaiting his trial. Eventually,
Dub. Jail in Japan goes to Israel. Jail in Israel goes to Korea. Jail in Korea. Bro is literally collecting charges in different countries like Pokemon cards. I love how this dude is the personification of fuck around and find out.
Actually, he only ended up receiving a fine and a slap on the wrist, and he chose to double down on the style of content. So, he then went to Israel, but unfortunately for him, he was attacked multiple times, had a lot of
Yeah, dude. He went to Israel in the middle of a war. You think these people want to deal with this fucker? Or they just picked him up and just carried him straight out of the country?
interactions with the police and ended up fleeing the country
Look at them carrying they don't want to deal with this guy.
before something
They
happened
don't want to deal with him at all. They just pick him up and carry him out.
to him. This is where he decided to go to Korea and try this format that he did in Japan over here. And unfortunately, he did this for a while until he flew just a little bit too close to the sun.
Ah, Icarus.
So essentially, he was streaming.
Wow, this is where he was. I feel like this is like such a legendary place. This is like, wow, this is the legendary spot that Johnny Somali ruined his life. We're looking at landmarks, doing Korea tours, just going to the different places Johnny Somali ruined his life. This is true celebration of a generational downfall.
Exactly from right here.
And obviously, that upset a lot of people, including the Korean government. And naturally, he is his own worst enemy because he films and live streams everything that he does.
Oh my God, dude, the lawyer that's cooking him in court is having the easiest time ever finding evidence. He literally films it and puts it online.
So all the Korean...
Bro, Johnny Somali's asshole is gonna be so stretched by the time he leaves Korea.
officials have to do is just sit and go through all of his live streams, which they all have saved, and essentially say, oh, well, you did this, you did this, you did this, we can charge you for this, this, and this. And
People in my chat are saying you should delete the VODs. I don't think you understand something. I have access to all of his deleted streams because it turns out because it turns out that this motherfucker's mods started hating on him. So one of his mods was an inside agent, and he literally filmed all of the VODs that he got. He immediately downloaded them, and he sent them to me, and to Atozy, and to Legal Mindset, and we all got this random message on Discord, hey, I am one of Johnny Somali's mods. I have evidence for you. And I was like, okay. And then they literally just upload fucking 10 hours of footage of just straight crimes. We celebrate idiocy on this channel. Definitely subscribe for more assholes and fools.
And when those charges can drop, that can be whenever. In theory, they can just keep on opening more and more cases against him based on his past content.
Yay!
And under no circumstances can Johnny leave the country.
Oh my God. So wait, so are they only charging him for a few things at a time? So they know that even if he somehow gets away after the first couple of charges, they'll just drag him back to court for another one. They are making an example of this man. And I am so here for it. You fuck around, you find out. What a time to hate on dumbasses.
Until all of his cases are finished, all of his time is served, and all of his fines are paid. But for some reason, up until now, Johnny thought he was gonna get away easily. But as you can see, I flew out to Korea to go to the trial and report right back to you guys exactly how things went down.
That's crazy! Dude.
So it's now a couple days before the trial, and he's now been hit with yet another charge of
Let's go! Slow cook that fraud.
obstruction of business. Dude is essentially collecting charges like he's Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. Now,
No, dude, for real. He's collecting charges and prison sentences like they're Pokemon. This is incredible.
he's sitting there with a grand total of about 2 charges for obstruction of business and 2 misdemeanor charges.
Including one is like sexually harassing a minor or something. That's another charge that I think that they have on him. Like, you don't understand. Like, this is great for me personally.
Most ironic thing about all
Of course, Nux is friends with a bunch of lawyer YouTubers. For the record, we are not related, all right? My lawyer cousins are not YouTubers. These are lawyers that You think you're just gonna hit me with the that shit? Nah, bro.
this is, I feel like I'm actually taking Johnny's trial more seriously than him when it's his freedom.
I am, because unlike Johnny Somali, who's broke in Korea, I am making thousands of dollars off of his downfall. We are not the same. You see, chat, you have to find someone that you love in your life as much as I love downfalls. That is how you will truly be happy.
That's on the line. I dragged my jet-lagged self out to the trial 2 hours before it started because I wanted to be there at a minimum an hour early so I could guarantee myself a seat in the Saal. Saal is Norwegian.
He tried.
To guarantee myself a seat in the courtroom. But this dude decided to go live drunk at 3 in the morning and live stream for like 3 hours when he had to be in the court by like 8:50. And
He showed up to the court completely hungover. He tried to go live the day before. Dude, you don't understand this downfall. Oh, God.
in his own fashion, he started trash talking the Korean government and
Gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. Bro threw the game. He threw the game.
accidentally leaked that he had more charges coming his way.
National Intelligence
Oh, no, we covered this. His crash out after the trial, honestly, is so much funnier than the one before the trial. That's the one I'm really looking forward to.
Security charge. National Intelligence Security charge.
They put this on Korean television. He is like the entire country's laughing stock. This is amazing.
Anybody know what the that mean? They say the National Intelligence Service gonna come get me. Tell them come find me. I ain't scared of them.
How is this guy playing his cards in the dumbest way possible?
Guys, listen. I know they're calling me racist on Twitter now for thinking that Trump is doing some good things. But I'm not beating my case by making fun of a black man in Korea. But I'm gonna do it anyway.
Every single time. I mean, like, it's like every decision he makes is going to make everything infinitely worse for himself. He just does not want to be a free man. But as many of you guys know, he's been running around promoting North Korea in his streams.
That's illegal in South Korea.
On the metro station by blasting the national anthem and by blasting various speeches by Kim Jong-un. And then he's been running around, preaching positivity about North.
Oh my god, dude, this is the live action Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's Johnny Somali climbing trees in Korea. No! Oh no!
Korea while he's been streaming. And if you know anything about North Korea and South Korea, you would
Yeah, they're not friends.
know that's an unwise thing to do. It's like he's actively making his life harder on purpose for himself. And that wasn't the only.
He has such a big ego that he literally torpedoes his own life for the flex of it.
Charge. He also accidentally leaked that he was getting a charge that was infinitely worse while using a racial slur to the prosecutors and judge.
How are you this stupid? There's no fucking way.
Yeah, they writing this in language.
And this is where things get interesting because it shows how the prosecutors are playing against him. Because this is a way more serious charge and it's a completely separate case. Meaning, if he pleads guilty to the...
Wait. He showed a different charge by accident? You are joking. There is no way. How are you such a failure? Oh my god.
Smaller charges, they can then charge him in this case as a repeat offender, meaning they'll be going way harder on him with the sentencing. So keep that in mind for later, but apparently he just doesn't care because he just announced that no matter what, he's just gonna stream and make money even though he legally cannot.
Wait, so he admits to doing crimes on camera the day before his trial? Nah, dude, nah.
I'm gonna. I'll make.
Bro is sitting there. Trump, please save me. I am a prisoner of war in Korea. Please, Donald. I'm even wearing your hat. Trump doesn't got no time for this bitch.
These gonna lock me in the country. I'm gonna make bread. If these lock me in the country, I'm gonna make bread.
He can't make bread legally. He's legally not allowed to stream in Korea because of all the crimes that he's committed. So he is literally doing a crime, explaining how he's gonna do more crimes.
I don't give a fuck.
He showed 5 bullet points. We only knew 4 charges. Wait, is that what happened? Is that why everyone freaked out?
There you right.
Oh my god, what a fucking idiot. Holy shit.
In the country, I'm gonna make bread. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Send that to the prosecutor. My live stream donators, they gonna get it rich and oiled.
He thinks that his live stream donators are getting rich off of his downfall.
They feel bad that I've been locked here.
No one feels bad that he's locked here. I am seriously enjoying this immensely. Literally, make retards again. Bring the retards out of the country. We'll keep them away. We are deporting non-Americans, and we are hoping actual American retards leave. Is he what you call main character syndrome? Nah, bro, he's retarded.
Snitching. Johnny Somali is making money. Yeah, don't lock me in the country, Korean corrupt ass government.
Korea's corrupt. Oh my god, bro. I feel so bad for Johnny Somali's poor cellmate. Dude did not need to be there. Bro's mom should have swallowed, for real.
If the government don't want me to work, I'm not working, I'm streaming.
I'm not working, I'm streaming.
Different things. I could be at Home Depot or selling my...
Oh my god.
That's working. Shut the...
Don't worry, bro. You don't need to sell your booty hole. Unfortunately, people are going to be having your booty hole for free. You will not need to sell it. It will be free. True communism. His booty hole is everyone's booty hole.
All of this is just so incredibly self-inflicted. Maybe people would have a little bit of sympathy for him.
That was funny, Atozy. Keep going.
If he didn't spend the last 2 years harassing strangers in public for profit. Dude is literally just traveling to be a burden to other people's societies as a career. And he's admitted that's how he makes his money. So this is his occupation. And clearly he doesn't care about anyone except for himself. And he will just do anything to make money. And he's admitted that himself.
I just don't get it. Bro. Like, you're gonna come up to me, bro. Why are you being other people in other countries? Why are you bullying people in other countries? For money. Like,
he admits it. He admits he's bullying people in other countries for money. What an unbelievable loser. Holy shit, Johnny Somali, professional retard, reporting for duty.
For clout. I've said it many times.
But if he cared
He's so honest about being completely shameless.
so much about himself, I'm surprised he did this before showing up to court. Because wouldn't he want freedom? Because on his stream,
look at Atozy, he's so confused. Let me explain something to you. You know what? I'm gonna draw you a graph. All right, I think this is important. All right, pay no attention to the right versus left retards. This is not important for today. That's a graph for another day. All right, let me show you something. You can always trust someone to operate in their own self-interest. All right. So this is a person, right? You can always trust him to follow the path of his own self-interest. All right. This is important, all right? So when you are judging what people do, you can always trust that they will operate in their own self-interest. But if you have someone that does not operate in their own self-interest at all and end up in jail, then they're a retard. Okay? All right, that is proof of retard, in my opinion. All right? They have successfully proven retard Asian. All right? This is important, okay? This is important to note. This is a non-retard. And this is a retard. This, you see, is the Nux graph of defining what people will do. All right? So if someone always acts in their own self-interest, they are a non-retard. If someone does everything they can to end up in jail, then they are, in fact, a retard. This is a truly... I'm glad I was able to make this graph for you. I think it clarified a few things. Bro, Teach wouldn't be able to predict this guy's movements. All right? The fucking Force would not be able to predict this guy's movements.
Knowing he had court in just a few hours, he drank until he vomited all over the place.
Nice!
I'm giving y'all the first viral moment tonight.
This is 3 in the morning before his court case at 8 a.m. Let's put this into perspective.
Oh my god, I threw up everything. If y'all want to see this? Oh my god!
I don't want to see.
And obviously, yeah, that happened just a few hours before he was supposed to meet up for court. So, naturally, he overslept.
What a fucking loser.
But before he ended the stream, he also announced that he was going to live stream during the trial.
What a fucking loser. Holy shit.
The trial is live tomorrow, and I will be live streaming the trial.
You know, while he's at it, what's another felony for him?
So it's Friday morning. We're now heading to the Johnny Smalley lawsuit, which is definitely going to be very interesting because I feel like it's going to go one of, 3 ways. It's like either he gets a complete slap on the wrist and he's like, all right, get out of here.
Nah, bro.
2, they want to go somewhere in the middle of the road where they give him some punishment, but also don't want him here for too long. Or 3, the judge just really drops the hammer down on him and he serves quite a while here. And I feel like the second option is the most likely outcome, but also who knows, because I don't know how judges normally handle cases here. First time in Seoul, got Hans with me. He's editor of the channel, one of the editors.
Oh my god, they made a whole fucking trip out of this. Bro went with his editors.
So Daniel. Unfortunately, Daniel was sick, so he couldn't come out to Korea, but me and Hans are holding down the fort. I'm actually shocked right now. So we just found out that Johnny's been streaming all night, and he's incredibly drunk.
Finding out in real time. Dude has a court case at 8 a.m. At 3, he was drunk streaming.
And apparently he's been doing like text-to-speech donation shots, and his chat, of course, got him incredibly drunk before his papers, or not before his papers, before his trial. And the reason I mentioned papers is because apparently he showed his papers on stream, and apparently he's been indicted for some crazier crimes than what we even thought.
Go, dude!
So this is going to be an interesting day, to put it lightly.
If he doesn't show up, what happens? They will put it off for a month. Okay.
Or
In his case, in this very special case, he might be detained.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's made such a stink that they might feel that he's a risk, so they'll probably arrest him.
This is insanity. I cannot believe this shit.
Potentially, that would be funny.
Apparently another Korean streamer threw a brick through a window here.
Oh.
What?
He broke the window over there.
Wow.
This other Korean streamer. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is insane. They're literally just going to landmarks made by fucking asshole streamers.
So what's the prediction of how long Johnny's going to get, you guys think?
What do we predict his sentence?
Yeah.
3 to 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And he'll be held here in Korea for that?
In prison.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
He'll go to the foreign prison, which is
Hey, legal mindset, my boy.
not fun. He'll have lots of Chinese friends there to keep him company, and he's been making fun of China as well. So that
He's been making fun of China, so they're gonna put him in a cell with Chinese people. Max time! Cook that fraud! Oh my god! This is such a glorious timeline.
that'll go over brilliantly.
Yeah.
He's about to find out that being in an Asian prison is not.
It doesn't help when you have multiple charges stacked against you.
No.
This is the room right here, and so there'll be a deeper with the all the cases
basically.
I guess the big question is will he show up?
Right.
Yeah, he's wasted at the moment. So.
We've been covering him for what, like a year and a half, and every video I make on him, I'm like, how is this possible? How is he finding a new low?
It's crazy. I've made a bunch of videos on it myself, and the most mind-blowing thing is he actually just gets worse. It's crazy to think about it, but like he genuinely gets worse every single time. Like, I don't cover the same thing a million times unless like he actively gets worse every single time. But he does. The bastard finds a way. How many videos did I make on him? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I made 7 videos on this guy. And every single time, he gets worse. Actual insanity.
Oh, and even today, he found a new low, or tonight. He was rambling about the judge.
He was rambling about the judge. He was rambling about everything. He showed the document that he's legally not allowed to show, that you have a picture of, which shows that he's basically, the police have sent the crimes charges,
fake charges to the prosecutor in the Eastern District.
Okay.
Fuck, dude.
Okay, so he's
he shouldn't show
charged for that.
Yeah, but
No,
he
not
shouldn't show
confirmed.
that.
Not confirmed. It's at the prosecutors, but there's a very high chance that they will indict.
Yeah.
And maybe they have indicted. We don't know yet, but we will find out.
So could that add more charges for him as well?
No, he can show that. I mean, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
He pleaded
Dude, he keeps showing more shit.
guilty to the other charges that they had, which was obstruction of business, carrying a rotting fish and threatening people with it in public.
Carrying a rotten fish. Bro, what lawyer is going to defend him in court? You see, My Honor, when he was taking a rotten fish and threatening people in public with the rotten fish, he meant it in only the best way, sir.
Working on the train and that kind of thing.
Right. The
Saul Goodman would block that fraud.
dapper gentleman who was in the recap I did after the stream, he did a court summary where essentially he wrote down everything that happened during the courtroom. So here we have Johnny Somali court case, March 7th, 2025, first hearing.
Bro, actual unofficial transcript. I am so ready, baby.
9:50, courtroom doors open. 9:51. Courtroom layout and observations. Atosi begins to make a courtroom sketch. Just in case you were wondering, this is my courtroom sketch here. So this is exactly what the courtroom looked like from the podium where we were sitting. So you have the judge in the center there, the Korean flag behind him. You have the prosecution on one side and then the defense on the other side. And as you can see, Johnny's stanced up in a very oversized white suit. And then obviously in the
Apparently he couldn't afford a suit. He had to wear his friend's suit. And his friend's like this fat guy. So he ended up looking like a complete fucking idiot, like a child in a lab coat.
middle there, you had the interpreters, because there was no witnesses that was called to this case yet. Hearings begin. 10:09, Ramzi Khalid Ismail is called to the stand. His lawyer informs the judge that he is attempting to contact him. The entire court waits. The judge appears mildly irritated.
Because he didn't show up on time to his own trial.
10:11, delay confirmed. The lawyer finally makes contact with Ramzi and informs the court that he will arrive 15 minutes late. At 11, Johnny Somali is absent.
Yep, that's more than 15 minutes late.
Johnny has still not appeared in court. Given that he was drinking all night, it is possible that he is still intoxicated. His lawyer appears to be attempting to sober him up.
What's he doing, slapping his face?
11:09, Ramzi arrives. The courtroom informed
Ramzi is Johnny Somali, by the way. So dude shows up 2 hours late to his court case.
that he is on his way up the stairs. The judge and prosecution appeared mildly irritated. 11:11. Ramzi enters the courtroom looking very rough. He is wearing an ill-fitted gray suit that is too large for him and a red MAGA cap. As he enters, he smirks at Atosi and me. He then notices Legal Mindset, who is slightly in his blind spot. Seeing Legal Mindset, he grins foolishly and sticks his tongue out at him.
Could you imagine showing up to the fucking court case and all of your ops, all the people making videos shitting on you are all sitting there to watch your downfall in person? Unbelievable.
Hank follows closely behind.
And he sticks his tongue out at random people in the audience. Oh my God, the judge must be losing it.
In an attempt to appear confident, Ramzi fails to follow courtroom protocol. He is told to remove his hat, which he does. However, while smirking at Legal Mindset, he absent-mindedly puts it back on.
There is no way! Wait, so they tell him to take it off, he takes it off, he looks at Legal Mindset, he puts it back on.
The court officer immediately instructs him to remove it again. He then attempts to sit in the interpreter's seat and is told to move. So he originally went
This is crazy.
to the center, but obviously he can't be there, so he had to go to the defense side. After a brief moment of confusion, he finds his lawyer and sits beside him. He once again glances at
Didn't even know who his lawyer was. He went to sit in the wrong spot, not next to his lawyer. You've got to be kidding me. Holy shit.
That Legal Mindset, smirks and sticks out his tongue. The judge and prosecution observe everything. In the audience, two female journalists sit directly in front of us. A white male journalist sits on the left-hand side of the courtroom, all of them rapidly taking notes on their laptops. Ramzi is instructed.
They said a white male journalist instead of, a male journalist.
Instructed to stand for the judge, his demeanor is disrespectful and irreverent. The judge asks for his occupation, to which he falsely claims to be a student.
Wait, the first thing that Ramsey says in court is a lie? The judge asks him one question, all right? What is your occupation? That's the first question he gets asked, and he immediately lies in court and says he's a student. Oh my God. You have got to be kidding me.
The judge raises an eyebrow, but does not otherwise react. When asked to confirm his address, Ramsey suddenly adopts a confused and helpless foreigner persona. He pretends to not know his address because he does not speak Korean.
I don't speak Korean. I don't know my address because I don't speak Korean.
Yeah. The judge informs him that he may speak English and simply state the numbers. It is evident that the judge understands and likely speaks English. The judge asks for his nationality, to which he promptly responds the United States of America. Ramsey stands sloppily in his oversized suit, hands in his pockets while speaking to the judge. Oh, and also just to add more
This is incredible. Holy shit. Saul Goodman would drop that fraud in a minute.
context, so Ramsey is speaking to a translator who is then talking to the judge in Korean. But as stated, it seemed very clear the judge fully understood Ramsey. And then obviously to add more context, if it's not clear, Ramsey is Johnny Somali. 11:15, judge issues a warning. The judge warns Ramsey that failure to attend future hearings could result in a harsh sentence in his absence. 11:16, charges were read by the prosecution. The prosecution reads out the 3 charges against Ramsey. 1, disruption of business. Ramsey entered a 7-Eleven, began drinking alcohol,
which he filmed. What an unbelievable idiot. Which he filmed.
illegal in Korea. When the elderly shop owner asked him to stop, he became verbally abusive. He threw ramen inside the store and continued drinking anyway. He played loud music, danced drunkenly, and harassed customers as they entered. His actions caused financial harm to the business and emotional distress to the owner. The prosecutor's language mirrors the strict legal vocabulary used in the previous drug dealer's case that we witnessed before Ramsey's case, emphasizing the social damage that Ramsey's actions caused. 2, public harassment.
Wait, and don't forget, don't skip that little nugget. Hold up. Right before number 2, you got a real banger. Check this out. Wait.
His language.
At this moment, Ramsey suddenly loses his smile. Oh, I love a good downfall. It just makes me happy.
Mirrors the strict legal vocabulary.
I will make your day better. Subscribe to me for a better day, all right? You're taking your shit maybe on the toilet. You just want your day to be a little bit better? Well, here we are, laughing at the downfall of retards.
Used in the previous drug dealer's case that we witnessed before Ramsey's case, emphasizing the social damage that Ramsey's actions caused. 2, public harassment with a rotting fish. Ramsey carried a rotting fish in a plastic bag and harassed people. When passengers asked him to remove the fish from the bus,
Look at these poor people.
Ramsey carried a
This is the
rotting
police
fish
telling him putting it
in a
down,
plastic bag
and he doesn't
and
listen.
harassed people. When passengers
Look at his face. Look at these people. They need to suffer. This is like a TV show. Dude, this is so much better because it's real life. Reality is so much better than TV sometimes. And this is one of those times.
Passengers asked him to remove the fish from the bus, he ignored them. He randomly approached pedestrians with a rotting fish, disturbing social order and making people feel unsafe. Upon hearing about the rotting fish, the judge slightly tilts his head and reviews the charges, seemingly in disbelief.
The judge is like, nah. No fucking way this retard is doing that shit. He's like, nah. Listen, I understand being drunk at a convenience store, but there's no way he harassed people with a rotting fish, right? And then the judge is just looking. He's just so confused. He's like, ain't no way.
However,
but it turns out, shocker, Johnny Somali filmed himself committing these crimes. That's the best part.
He remains stone-faced and does not
Listen, all the people harassed by Johnny Somali, your sacrifice was a sacrifice I am willing to make to watch his downfall.
comment. And then the third charge is lewd conduct on public transportation. Ramsey was accused of sexually suggestive dancing and playing loud music on the bus and in train. He was specifically accused, in quote, of twerking, which is considered deviant in Korea.
Dude, that's crazy.
I'm doing it. Oh yeah, no.
Oh my god, dude. That's the statue of the representing women that were sexually assaulted that Johnny Somali danced, like lap danced on these statues.
This is a statue Johnny twerked on.
And that's apparently the first time the word twerking has ever been used in a court case in Korea.
Johnny Somali truly breaking boundaries. He has done wonders for the entire population. The first time twerking is used in court in Korea. What a gigantic W. We will always remember Johnny Somali for this content.
11:18, the unexpected fourth charge. The judge asks Ramsey if he's received the letter of the fourth charge. Both Ramsey and his lawyer appeared confused.
Even his lawyer, even Ramsey's lawyer didn't know that he got charged for a fourth thing. There's no fucking way. There's no way.
The lawyer receives a new charge and reviews it. Then the judge asks the defense how they wish to plead. Ramsey's lawyer states that he pleads guilty to all charges except for the new charge, which they have not yet reviewed.
They don't even try to fight it. They don't even try for like a fucking plea deal. They don't try for anything. They're just like, yep, we plead guilty immediately. The lawyer then suddenly mumbles under his breath, oh fuck, my client is a retard. They just immediately plead guilty. Because again, this is open and shut. 4K actual video footage of him committing these crimes.
The judge asks how much time the defense requires. The lawyer requests 3 weeks to review the new charge. The judge then grants the request, and then the hearing of the fourth charge is scheduled for April 9th, 2025. Ramsey no longer smiles and appears very concerned. 11:20, judge's final word. The judge sternly warns Ramsey to not be late for the next hearing. The judge looks mildly annoyed, which in Korean culture indicates that he is actually very annoyed.
Thank you for the insight on that one. Holy shit! Wait, so this whole court case took like 20 minutes? It was just open and shut. It's like, you're charged for these 3 things. He's like, yep, I did them. All right, moving on.
11:22.
Oh my God, this whole court case was less than 20 minutes. This is like the quick mysteries bit in Rick and Morty. Dude, that's crazy. If you don't get that reference, this is the reference.
Star, look, you guys are getting excited about the wrong aspect of this device. What? Look at this.
Put the copyright filter on this.
And now, another quick mystery.
I just want to know who could have done something like this. It's a travesty. I did. You see this knife and all the blood on it? Here's my fingerprints.
Guilty. I sentence you to life in prison. Here's another quick mystery.
My mother's dead. And I killed her. Here's the weapon, and cuff me, thank you very much.
Guilty. Sentenced to murder. Here's another.
I'm the killer.
Wow, that one was really quick, wasn't it?
Bro, this is Johnny Somali speedrunning fucking confessions to guilt in court. This is crazy.
Court adjourns. We stand and exit the courtroom.
Bro, I'm just so excited. The next time someone in Korea gets arrested for twerking, the judge is the prosecutor is gonna say, Your Honor, if I could refer you to the Ramsey twerking case precedent here. Oh God, I just hope that happens in my lifetime. For real, for real. Think of the content. Your Honor, if I could just refer you to the Ramsey twerking case of 2025.
Leaving Ramsey behind. After the hearing, a journalist asked Ramsey why he wore a MAGA cap and kept putting it back on. Ramsey responded, because I can do whatever I want. Korea is a vassal state of America.
There is no fucking way he said that in court to a journalist. That is insanity. Oh my God, you've got to be shitting me. How is he such a retard?
Again, that is a quote from him. His freedom is in Korea's hands right now. Why he's acting like this now?
Oh God, this is just a good day to be me, all right? Sometimes it's nice to cover things that are a little less serious and just a lot more fun.
No. But also, I have no idea why he's done 99% of the stuff that we've been covering him doing. But after the trial, we went and had lunch and discussed the trial.
First trial case for him. Very fascinating. Apparently he pled guilty to the first set of charges, and he now has another court date and a separate trial, or a separate case.
Can you do a quick run through about the fish thing? Or like, so what happened?
So basically, he got on the public transport with a rotten fish.
Yeah, I'm aware of the story, but what did the judge say about all that?
They indicted him for it because it's disturbance of business, and the public transport here is technically a private company. Like, it's half government owned, but it's still a private company. So it's still obstruction of business, and he was harassing people with the fish
It keeps getting better!
randomly in the street for no reason. They said specifically he was approaching people for no reason and harassing them with a rotten fish.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it goes into harassment and also the obstruction of business. Yeah. Because it made public transport, people felt unsafe, they said.
So that counted as an obstruction of business as well, not only just minor charges? That was a minor charges or a misdemeanor.
Like harassment.
Yeah. And then the second minor charges was him on the subway twerking.
Subway twerking, playing loud music.
Playing
loud music and just disrupting people, making them feel unsafe on public transport.
What did the judge say or react to any of it? Did he give anything?
He just kind of basically didn't show much response. He was just noting down what the charges were. And as Johnny was walking in making faces, the judge noticed that he was making faces. So it's probably not going to count in his favor.
Right.
Tried to wear the hat as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried to wear a hat.
Yeah, he tried to wear the Trump hat.
MAGA hat. I can't wear my hat.
The fact that they made him take it off twice was hilarious.
Oh man.
And he wore a very badly fitting suit.
That's hate.
I love how they're just like celebrating this actual downfall. How awesome is this? This is insane. They're like literally all just there, straight up. They're just having the time of their life. They're making a vacation out of his downfall. This is awesome.
Suits. It was like a kid wearing his dad's suit. It was embarrassing.
After lunch, I ended up trying to live stream multiple times, but couldn't get a decent internet connection, so we ended up going to a Starbucks to where I could actually stream. And that's how we got this VOD, which is still up on my channel. And remember what I said about him pleading guilty? Well, that's exactly what happened because, you know, he showed up drunk and pled guilty to 3 of those charges, which means no matter what, he's going to become a convicted criminal in Korea because he just pleaded guilty. So he's now banned from Korea when they finally let him leave here after he served all of his time and paid all of his fines. And in future cases against him, he'll be tried as a repeat offender, meaning he'll be getting a way harsher sentence.
The craziest thing is they're doing this in multiple courts, right? Every district has its own courts for different crimes that were violated in their own districts. So he very likely will be tried for a crime, plead guilty, and then tried in a different district, except this time he'll be tried as a felon. All is right with the world.
And in these future cases, it seems like these charges are way harsher, but somehow, after all of that,
yeah, I heard that he went live again after his stream.
He still thinks that he's not even going to spend any jail time in Korea and he's going to be a free man soon. And not only that, he also admitted to showing up drunk and not caring about his case on a live stream. After all that,
that's crazy.
They're claiming that
he did another live stream after his court case. Oh my god, dude.